Russ, let's start at the end of practice. The fights, you've been around a long time. Those are usually
What
training.
fight? What are you talking about?
Those aren't usually those are training camp, not OTAs. What do you think of that?
No, I think it's a competitive part of practice. I think we're all trying to, compete and be the best version of us and everything else. A lot of times, we have a long practice like the way we did and the way we're working. Things happen, every great team I've been on, there's been a couple of those. So, but our guys are all so connected. That sometimes happens, but nothing to worry about.
We haven't spoken to you since the draft, have we?
Yeah, I think so. I think since the draft, yeah.
So what was your reaction to them trading up and getting Jackson and just?
Yeah, Jackson's been great, man. He's a great worker, great teammate. We're having fun, all of us. We have a really good quarterback room. Guys are so focused and working diligently every day. He's going to be an extremely good talent, and everything else, throughout his career.
Does it change anything for you, having a first-round pick in the room with you?
No, it doesn't change anything at all. I think the biggest thing is for me is just being my best every day, leading. I always think about, just leading everybody. Just leading every room, every moment, every time I get step on the white lines, and the opportunity of that. We had a great dinner the other night. All the guys, brought all the O linemen and quarterbacks and running backs together. We just had a good time, just tons of laughs and good time together. So, just I think the fellowship of it all is the best part right now. Obviously our work ethic and what we're doing in the field, but when it comes to just the tight-knit culture that we're continuing to build and continue to grow, and we want to have a championship football team, and in terms of our mentality and our approach and how we go about it, and it's not just the games, but it's everything that leads up to that, and that's the fun part about the game of football.
How do you guys view it differently, Rob? A lot of guys view it differently, whether say, okay, part of my role now is to be a mentor, or hey, I just go back and do my business and it happens naturally. How do you sort of view that?
I've always viewed it as, you're always trying to be the best version of you, and then you're always giving back to everybody else. I think that, it's not just about one teammate, it's about all the teammates. It's about everybody in the building. It's about, from all the way to the quarterback room, to the receivers, to the running backs, to the tight ends, to the O-line, and the relationship there, all the way to the defensive line, to the corners, and all the way to the training room. My relationship with Bobby, my relationship with Tim, and running the equipment, all the way to the staff and everybody who's helping us and making food. All that part is everybody, and I think those are the relationships to obviously Coach Wellman and what he's doing, and Coach Wilson too, and how they're leading us in the weight room. So it's like, to me, it's all inclusive, and that's always the approach.
Russ, can you give us a little insight into how the quarterback room works as far as who's taking charge? Is it a group collaboration? How does it work?
Yeah, we always communicate. I think that the best quarterback rooms I've ever been in, and they're always super interactive. Our meetings are interactive. Coach Daves does a great job, with interaction. I think Kafka does a great job of interaction. Coach Shea, all of our coaches do a tremendous job of communicating, and so I think that we have really good teachers of the game. That's been the really fun part. And I've had a lot of fun, coming in here and just being a part of that, and then leading in every way. My role and my responsibility, obviously, to help our football team win, but also to lead in every way. And been fortunate to be able to see a lot of football and communicate all that and understand it all. And so we're always constantly growing, always constantly sharing and collaborating and thinking and processing.
You mentioned that you're always learning. What have you learned? Being, you would think you've seen it all, done it all now, but what have you learned so far?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I still want to accomplish, and so every day I'm just constantly focused on that part of it. I think that for me, every time I step into the white lines, I want to be my best every day, and understanding that you're just constantly growing. There's constantly things to learn and everything else. So I think the cool part here is just the fellowship with the guys. Knowing what JMS is like, knowing what runs is like, knowing Theo and Wandell, knowing what Nabes is like, and just being next to him in the locker room, and just different guys. I think all that is important. I think Jalen Hyatt, he's a guy that's, who I really believe in, and so there's a lot of guys I believe in. All these guys have been working their tails off. We spent a lot of time, me and Belly, and I've been with Dolchich before and knowing him, but now his life's grown and everything else. And so I think all those relationships are significant, and I think that's the part I'm constantly learning too as well.
Russ, when it comes to Jackson, are you taking the approach with him where you're explaining why you're doing what you're doing and all that stuff, or do you wait for him to ask the questions and then you'll answer?
Oh yeah, I always share, and I always think about communicate. I'm a big believer in communicating out loud. Just, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm saying. You don't hold any information. I think that for us, it's always about us being the best that we can all be, and and I think for me, when you have tremendous confidence in yourself, you have no problem sharing it with others. I think that's just how I've always believed. So
speaking of that mentorship role, you were a mentor, obviously, back in Pittsburgh for Fields, and now you're going to be a mentor for Jackson Dart. So how, just that transition in the quarterback room, how's that been?
Yeah, I think that, it's not just the guys in your quarterback room. Hopefully it's across the league, different guys you've been able to communicate with, but especially the guys in your room. I think, Fields is a guy that I have a great relationship with, a guy that I believe in every way. We spent a lot of time together last year, and then we've talked a lot in the past. Jackson and I are obviously getting to know each other, and Jameis I've known for forever. Tommy, I'm getting to know. I have a lot of respect for Tommy and how hard he's worked every day. That doesn't go unseen. And so it's just all of us, man. It's not just one guy or one player or just me or anything else. It's all of us together.
What are your early impressions of Coach Kafka?
Yeah, Coach Kafka's super sharp, man. He's a guy that's played in the league. That's the first thing. It's anytime you get a quarterback that's played in the National Football League, that's significant. It's the amount of information quarterbacks learn and understand, how they see the game. You're really talking to a guy that's been on the football field and played, been in different organizations, won before, and and everything else. And so that's been a lot of fun. Just talking to him, how he sees the game, how we see the game together, me and him. And Dave's too as well. So that's been really cool.
Russ,
You're a
you played
veteran
against,
in this
you played against this defense last year. You're playing against kind of a regrouped, re-personneled group on defense this year. Do you see a big difference between?
Yeah, I thought first of all, I think last year that defense was flying around. Up front was obviously having big sexy Dexy up there rushing the passers. He's a monster, man. I think obviously Brian Burns is, in my opinion, one of the top defensive ends in the game. His ability to get to the quarterback, his ability to cause havoc. It's anytime you're game planning against a team, and it's like you have these game altering players, and he's one of them for sure, and Dex as well, and Tibbs. I think he's had an unbelievable camp so far, just how he's gone about his approach. He's here early, he's here late, his thought process, and he's just a tremendous football talent as well. And then the addition, obviously, Abdul rushing the passer too. He gets to learn from guys like Burns and guys like Tibb and all those guys as well about their process, and he's already got a great one already. I think from a secondary standpoint, just the additions of Debo and then also to Holland and all that, those guys, they're freak of natures back there, man. Just how they make plays. I think Debo's one of the best out there on the outside. His ability to make plays. Been able to watch him from a distance too. Had a lot of respect for him. He's very patient and calm out there. That's always the thing that you want at cornerback, his ability to see things and process. And so I think with our linebackers too, obviously Big Bobby O, he's one of the best in the game, how he flies around. And so I think we got to have a really, really talented defense, and hopefully they can get us the ball, give us a short field, score a lot of points hopefully. But I think the best thing that they do is obviously cause havoc.
What's your process for establishing chemistry with receivers you haven't worked with before?
Yeah, I think,